Welcome to the series called Creating a Discipleship Culture. Now, in this series, we're going to talk through how to use the tools at pursuegod.org to create a culture of discipleship throughout your church or your ministry. So it doesn't matter if you're a local church or if you're a parachurch ministry, our resources online, which are all free, are designed to really help you to equip everyone in your church to become a disciple maker. Now, in this first lesson, we're going to talk about getting the vision. We think it's inspiring for you to get the vision of what a culture of discipleship can do to your ministry. So let's talk about that. Now, vision answers the question, where are we going? As a church, as a ministry, where are we going? And I hope if you're a leader at your church and you're considering using the tools at pursuegod.org to create this culture of discipleship, that you'll just take an honest inventory of your ministry right now. What is the culture like at your church? You know, my church years ago, the culture was very much sort of a preaching culture. People would come to hear someone preach. They would be happy or maybe not so happy, and then they would go home. But there wasn't a lot of equipping. There wasn't a lot of people actually actively involved in pursuing God when they left church and entered everyday real life. But then we visited this church in the Philippines, and this church that was massive, but that had this incredible culture that we came to identify as a discipleship culture. What I mean by that is everyone that we met, they ended up talking about who discipled them. They said, yeah, that guy over there, that guy discipled me. And that guy over there, that guy discipled me. Now, maybe it was 20 years ago or maybe it was 20 days ago, but it seemed that everyone had someone that discipled them. And more than that, they would talk about people that they were currently discipling. And this is what we mean by a discipleship culture. It's something that everyone is doing. They weren't just talking about how great the pastors were, or how great the sermons were, or how great the music was. Now, that all might have been the case, but that's not why they were in the church. That's not why they were growing and pursuing God. Now, it turns out that they had very specific curriculum and they had a very specific process, and we'll talk more about strategy and tools later on in this series. But for right now, I just want you to think about this. God has a vision, a different vision for our churches, and it works the way Ephesians 4 lays it out. Paul says there that God gave the apostles and the prophets, evangelists, shepherds, and teachers, so basically the paid staff, he gave them to the church to equip the saints for the work of the ministry, for the building up of the body of Christ. And that's what the resources at pursuegod.org are all about. It's all about helping pastors, helping the leaders to equip the saints, to equip the people, so that what happened to that church in the Philippines can happen in our churches and our ministries all over the place. It's where everyone is equipped to go help somebody else pursue God. Everyone is equipped to be a disciple maker. So here's my vision for my church, and I hope this is your vision for your church or ministry, and if it is, then you'll continue in this series. And it's that when I walk into my church, I look and I see that everyone is connected to somebody. Parents are discipling their kids. Small group leaders are discipling the people in their small group. Team leaders in the ministry are discipling the people on their team. And everyone individually feels equipped and empowered to engage people, whether it's their neighbor who's far from God or someone who's new in their faith, whatever it is, that everyone knows how to walk with someone and help them pursue God. See, because culture answers the question, what do we actually do in our church, in our ministry, in our environment? What do we actually do? What are our normative habits? And I want in my church, this is my vision, because this is God's vision for my church and for your ministry. I want in our ministries, I want it to be a place where everyone is equipped to make disciples. They know what that means, and they go do it. Hey guys, if you're new to our resources, the way this works is you use the questions below this video and talk about it with your group or your mentor or with a leadership team, and make sure that you process the content on this topic, and then be sure to go on to the next lesson in this series where we talk about what discipleship means in the first place, because if we're not all using the same terms, then we're not all going to be on the same page moving forward together.